Okay. Hey, everybody. So let's just take a minute and arrive in the room. All those little areas we've been spending energy, just let them come to a stop. All the places in your past and future that you're keeping alive right now. Just let them fall to the floor. And be in this moment. To do this, you have to empty out. To be in this moment, you can't carry all this stuff around. You don't lose anything. Just like when you shut down something on your computer, all the files are still there. They can still be enlivened. You just stop running energy through them. Why do we treat our mind so differently? You know, this week I have too many things open on my computer because I have like 5 different guidelines that are all sort of bottlenecking and all this work to do, and the workflows of all of it are so intricate that if you step away from them, it takes 30 minutes just to get them set back up again and remember what you were doing. So I've got about 5 projects, each with many, many different files open at once. And I notice my computer doesn't run very well. There's too much enlivened. Too many things it's holding alive from its memory. And I know at some point, if I want to get it working smoothly again, it's going to be about going in and closing every single one of those files and restarting the computer, just the way we try and restart you every Thursday night. We shut everything down and allow you to open back up clean. But it's one thing for an external tool to be bogged down. This is your life you bog down. By letting all these things run, it ruins your sleep. It colors your interactions with people. It colors your understanding of yourself. And then you come to a class like this where somebody gives you permission to shut it all down, to just drop it to the floor. And it takes you about 15 minutes to really do it. But when you do, the whole room starts to sing. I always know when you guys are there, there's just this resonance like a singing bowl. Your mind is a wonderful tool. But it's not made to keep everything in storage right up at the edge, ready to light up the second you need it. It's not made to have 10 things going on at once. It's made to let you open one of those things, and then it interacts with it through critical thought. And it's an excellent tool for that. It synthesizes, it builds. But then you have to shut it down and come back to baseline. You shut it down, you come back to baseline, the way you do in a class like this. And that allows you to merge with the one big mind. That vast field of empty intelligence, pregnant with possibilities, ready to become anything. That's the real power flowing through the circuits of this computer mind that you are. You can't really do 10 things at once. But when you pretend that you can and keep them alive, you cut that intelligence, you cut that power down, you divide it by 10 so that nothing gets done well. If instead you focused on one thing but gave it the full force of that power, it would be infused with brilliance. And then when it's done, you let it go and you shift your attention to something else. And when you start to lose yourself, you drop it all and come back to this state where you can remember what you are. This is how spirituality helps you build even in your illusory world. Because you come to see how everything works, how simple it all is. You deal with what's in front of you without torturing yourself with the 10 other things you can't do anything about yet. Most human beings are so busy wrestling with their egos that they can't really shift their attention to get something done. It's all attention grabs and power grabs and all these things that don't get anybody anywhere. At some point, when you actually get what you say you want, you'll realize you didn't want it. I promise. Go ahead and go for it. I mean, it's important to see it for yourself. You've probably seen it in small ways already. Once you see that, the game changes. It becomes more about recognizing your resistances within what you're doing. Recognizing the things you don't need to be hanging on to, but for some reason can't put down. And you start working on that so that even within your busy world, you can still live the simplicity of the one thing at a time. That is, if you're living a life where you work for a living. If you're a sage on top of a mountain, you'll get there much faster, but it'll be fragile. There's actually more to learn in the mess. There's more power and stability facing the mess. Are there any questions about any of that? Not sure why that's coming up tonight. Okay. So let's just step into the room. Let your attention take in the entire room at once. Let the rest of you just fall to the ground. You can go ahead and forget who you are. It's all stored in the computer. It's one of those annoying programs that whenever you turn the computer on, it boots whether you asked it to or not. So just go ahead and let go of it. And let's just be comfortable for a while. I mean, honestly, most of our programs suck. Listen to the ringing of the one mind. It's released and free. It doesn't have any choices to make. It just moves according to its nature. And its nature is always moving back towards balance. And as the pendulum spends more time at the center of you, your energy can start to refill. You're not dumping out energy. When you stop pushing and pulling, when you find yourself stabilized here, everything stops. Because you're the only variable, and you're still. When you bring this consciousness into spaces where there are other variables that are moving, you come to understand their movements. Because they're not complicated. The first thing you notice is that pretty much all of it is just energy trying to complete itself. People create what appears to them as a story of lack, and that story of lack is actually like an energetic heightening that then needs to roll down the hill to find its stability again. We think we're so complicated, but we're really just a bunch of people who just keep walking a ball to the top of a hill and rolling it down over and over. My dog has more nuanced pastimes. And more focus. And so it's easy to let go of. And when you're around someone else, it's easy to recognize. They make it look complicated to themselves by lacing all sorts of feelings around it and tying it and timing it to other people's balls rolling down a hill. And if no one's ball is rolling down a hill, they look out and they still see that person's ball rolling down a hill. They project it. So that they can have the exact dramas that they've grown accustomed to, the ones they were taught very early in life. But no matter how deeply ingrained, no matter how long you've been doing it and been lost in it, in a moment you can see it for what it is. It's just you creating some embarrassingly simple story of lack. So that then you can play out this whole rolling ball scenario. Takes a long time to get bored of that, strangely. When you do get bored of it, you find yourself in a strange space. You still have to get your work done, which means you do still have to actually walk balls up the hill. You have to work the mechanisms of motivation to make anything happen. But your investment is completely different. And you can let go of all of it in an instant. Because it's not real. And because it's not that much fun. Just let it all drop. Nothing to lose. And you just breathe in this moment. There's still just a little bit of film between you and this moment. What if you really just stilled yourself? What if you had no idea what's actually present in this moment? And you made room for the freshness of the unknown. What would that do to the energy of that film? Just a door open for anything to happen. That this moment might have permission to pierce through the drudgery of your knowledge. To invite the unknown outside is to invite the unknown in yourself. And without that, you are stuck in your past. Stuck in the exhausting known. You notice how the known keeps wanting to spill in around the edges and close the door. You have to actively hold the door open. But in seeing that, it tells you something about the veil that has covered your sight. The veil of the known. From the unknown, you can move in new directions. Make tiny little adjustments that become huge changes down the line. Within the known, it all just stays the same. Except that you get shocked out of it in periodic moments throughout your life. Moments of loss, mostly, and moments of childbirth. There are many levels to this teaching. One of the lowest levels that you'll hear, low not meaning bad, just meaning early, is the level of entering life without expectations. I guess I call it low because it's still in a semantic realm. You and I don't spend much time together in semantic realms, even when I talk too much. But most people walk into this world with programs of expectation activated inside of themselves. Almost everybody. Almost all the time. Whether you're approaching a job, a spouse, or even a spiritual initiation that way, the most you can gain is what you already have. Because your expectations can only come from your past, and they filter what you're able to see of the moment. If you have someone skilled enough, they'll shock you out of it before an initiation. But everything that you think you know so well, you're holding that in place with your expectations. You don't know it at all. You only know yourself. And this door that you hold open for yourself for anything to happen, you can hold it open for anything in your life. Your relationship with your spouse, your relationship with your work. You can just go ahead and forget everything you know about it and leave the door wide open for it to be something different. At first, the changes will feel just internal. But day by day, they'll build into something new. You can't see it for however long you insist on doggedly narrating your life to yourself. Refusing to accept that what's in front of you is the product of a filter created by your past that you're refusing to let go of. And you can step out of any situation, but you can also stay in and let go of everything you know about it. And at a certain stage, that's more powerful. It teaches you more. Because your expectations show you where you're stuck. If a person were to look at my life and look at the things that I deal with and feel, they mostly would not walk away thinking of me as a spiritual teacher. And it's because I am always expanding into my stuck areas. Always. My whole life. Other teachers set up a cushy life for themselves where everybody treats them like they're gods and makes everything easy on them. But it's very different when you are truly committed to that expansion. Why not master it? You learn so much in the process. It gets easier and easier after a certain amount of time. But you don't often end up looking like someone who's comfortable. Because you're not. You're actively facing your remaining discomforts. It's what we're here to do. It's the harder path, but it yields the best results. You reach a point where you don't have to take anyone's word for anything, because you know how to step into things and see for yourself. You know, when you guys were stepping into the unknown, you collapsed time a little bit. So this session has felt longer than normal, hasn't it? Time's just another expectation. But I feel like the cycle of the teaching has kind of reached its end. Do you guys have any questions about anything that was said tonight? Or anything at all that you'd like addressed? All right, everybody, I think I'm going to let you go a little early tonight. Thank you, and I will see you next Thursday. Have a good night. My pleasure, Joanna.